What's up YouTube? I'm Adrian Thompson. Today we're going to talk about 6 money habits that you should probably adopt in your 20s. And honestly, before we get started, I kind of wanted to address that my videos have not been doing well lately on this YouTube channel. And honestly, I absolutely love making the videos and I'm going to keep making them, but I want to make them better. So if you guys right off the back see anything you want to critique, anything you want me to get better at, any topics you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. One of the roadblocks I think I'm running into when running this channel is finding the specific topics that you guys want me to cover. So if you have anything you want me to talk about specifically, please let me know in the comments below. And if you like the fact that I'm trying to get topics from you guys, go ahead and like the video so the YouTube algorithm hopefully starts pushing these videos out. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. And like I just said, it's 6 money habits that you need to adopt in your 20s. Now, the first habit I think everybody should learn how to master top down, left and right in your 20s is learning how to use a credit card. Now, credit is one of those weird things where you need a history of credit in order to get approved for your first credit card. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to run into a corner. You're absolutely going to hate credit scores and credit cards right off the bat. In order to get your credit card journey started, go ahead and look for the best starter credit cards on the market. I've made a few videos on this channel talking about which credit cards are the best. Personally, I think the one that most people, if not everybody, can get into, even though it might not be the absolute best starter credit card, is a Capital One card. Now, the reason I say that, and I mentioned it more in the video, is that Capital One Platinum credit card has no predatory factors about it, and it's just a straightforward credit card that will help you learn how to use credit. And in your 20s, by the time you're my age, I'm roughly 25, if you started this right out of college, you're probably going to understand and know the system enough to start getting credit cards to absolutely maximize the benefits. By the time you're in your mid-20s, you're going to know whether or not you're going to be traveling more than somebody else, or if you're going to be more like me, a homebody that tends to make larger purchases. And in that case, you're going to figure out which credit card works for you. You can either get a credit card that has significantly better travel benefits if you're like somebody who travels a lot, or if you're like me, you can look out for credit cards that have once in a lifetime sign-up bonuses from $200 to $500 and take advantage of those to buy the equipment to fund your hobbies. Now, I say this every time I mention a credit card. You never want to get a credit card to spend money you otherwise wouldn't have spent. That is a wrong mindset to have. But if there's money you already have set aside or a trip you already had planned and you were going to do it no matter what, you might as well use a credit card to maximize the amount of benefits, essentially making the trip or the purchase you're going to make a little bit cheaper. Now, the second topic is a little bit different than credit cards, but I think is probably the most important one on this list, and it's hard as hell, and that is to try and save 50% of your income. Now, the reason why that's significantly difficult in your 20s is if you're having a starting job making anywhere between $30,000 to $60,000, you probably need that money to live, especially if you're living in a high cost of living area. But that's actually a good thing in the sense of now that you know that you should be saving at least 50% of your income, it lets you know if you're overspending at a young age or if you just need to focus on your career and start making more money at a younger age. I know, trust me, easier said than done, but the 50% goal of saving your money is a great mindset to have because it will set your future self up in your 30s, 40s, and 50s for a significantly better future. But let's talk about if you are managing to save 50% of your income, or even if it's 30, 20, or 10% of your income, where should you keep it? Your 20s is actually a great time to learn how to save your money. I always suggest if you want to hold on to cash, to use a high yield savings account so you're fighting inflation as much as possible. I personally use Ally Bank. Capital One has some. I think Robinhood has some. There are plenty of high yield savings accounts out there. Find one and keep your large amounts of money in those accounts. Now, you can also learn how to invest in stocks. Your 20s is a great time to do it, but you want to make sure you're putting that 10 to 50% of your income in somewhere relatively safe. Another way to think about that 50% goal is trying to save money for your next big purchase. So if you know that you're going to have to buy a car coming up, if you know that you want a down payment for your house, maybe that 50% goal isn't just saving for your future self, but saving up money so you can just buy that future purchase you know you're going to have to pay for in all cash, and you're not stressing about it when that time does come. With that being said, I'm going to use this as a way to segue to the third topic. Saving 50% of your income is definitely most important when talking about saving for your future self. And that is why tip number 3 to learn in your 20s is to focus on saving money for your retirement. Now, I know that's crazy. I'm 25 and you can't touch your IRA or 401k until you're 59 and a half. So that's more than double my lifetime away. I haven't even been on this earth for 50% of that time. However, you got to keep this in mind. Compound interest is the most important factor when you're thinking about your retirement. So for people who are 25, if you put in $1, you're most likely, assuming 7 or 8%, going to get $14 out in your retirement. That's 14 times the amount of money that you put in that you'll have available to you when you retire. And the number one factor in compound interest is time. So it's extremely hard to make up for that lost time if you wait until your late 30s or your 40s to start investing for your retirement. That compound interest is all backloaded to those last 10 to 15 years. So you would have to put in an insane amount of money in your mid 30s in order to catch up if you just started with a smaller amount of money in your early 20s. I know we're not making a lot at this age, but your future self will thank you for it, I promise you. If you're not too familiar with 401ks and Roth IRAs, last month I did 2 videos breaking those down as deeply as I possibly could. So go ahead and look at both of those videos. And something to keep in mind when you're selecting jobs when you're young, your 401k options are the number one thing you should be asking about in interviews, because a company can match your 401k, which can turn into legitimately millions of dollars if the match is good enough. So make sure you're focused on that when you're looking at your entry-level position, or maybe not your entry-level position, but 2 to 3 years out when you switch companies or you try to get promotion. Work for your 401k benefits and make sure you're taking those into consideration when you're selecting a job. Now, I know the first 2 of the 3 topics were about saving money, so this one I want to talk about spending money. So for number 4, if you want to buy something, wait 30 days until you buy it. So what I do if I ever want to make a large purchase, I'll make a mental T-chart, or sometimes I even write it down. Like for this camera and this laptop, I wrote down a T-chart of the pros and cons of spending that much money on a piece of equipment. And once I make that T-chart, I let it sit with me for 30 days before I pull the trigger and actually make the buy. Over the 30 days that you're waiting to make that purchase, you're going to start questioning, do I actually need it? Am I able to hit that 50% savings goal? Or it might motivate you to go out that month and make a little bit more money to make up for the amount of money that you're spending. For me, it was learning about credit cards over those 30 days because I would find credit cards with a $300 or $400 signing bonus. So when I purchased this laptop or that camera, it was a significantly smaller hit to my budget. Now I'm a true believer of buy nice or buy twice. So over those 30 days, I would genuinely ask myself, would I be happier with that cheaper model or that cheaper version? And a lot of times it was no. If I'm not happy with it, I'm not going to put my money to it. So I ended up upgrading over those 30 days. The 30 days stops you from buying things you don't want and makes you buy things that you actually need. Now, the next habit you need to adopt in your 20s is to budget fun into your life. If you're like me, I'm somebody who hates spending money, and I've gone too far and basically cut out all fun in my life at times in my life because I didn't want to spend money that I didn't think I had. But the result was I genuinely felt like I wasn't happy. If all I did was go to work, I would come home and then go to work again. So there's nothing wrong with budgeting fun into your life. Now, I've been there in my 20s. It's really easy to just start spending money and enjoying life because you finally have thousands of dollars coming in every single month. But you have to realize, and trust me, I know it takes time, that just because you have thousands of dollars coming in every month, you probably have thousands of dollars needing to go out every month. Now, obviously there's a nice middle ground for this. You don't want to absolutely sacrifice your happiness, but you don't want to spend too much money either. So set a decent amount of money for fun so you enjoy your time and don't stress over spending the money that you have budgeted, but be strict with that budget. Now, like I said in the previous tips, you want to sacrifice now in order to set yourself up for later, but there's no point of being unhappy if you don't need to be unhappy. Now, I always suggest under budgeting your fund to begin with and slowly ramping it up, making sure you can still pay your bills and still hit your savings goal. But that way you're maximizing the amount of fun you're having when you're younger without hurting yourself financially when you're older. Now, the last habit I would suggest 20-year-olds to adopt is to make sure you're not spending money in depreciating assets. A lot of times you can get hung up when you're younger and overpaying for a car that you don't really need or buying clothes to impress people that you don't care about. And it's one of those things that will completely kill your financial freedom if you're not aware of it. Now, everybody has their weakness when it comes to this. For me, it's tech. Obviously, I spend too much money on tech, to be completely frank with you, but I try to minimize it with credit cards, and I always make sure I sell my old tech in order to make sure when I upgrade, it makes a little bit more sense. That being said, I've never once avoided hitting a savings goal in order to buy tech. Cars are definitely the #1 way to just drain money from you. They're the most expensive depreciating asset you're going to buy. So make sure you go back and look at some of my videos on how I paid off cars using credit cards and whatnot in order to minimize that hit. But that's it for today. That's 6 habits that I think 20-year-olds need to adopt in order to set themselves up for a better financial future. Once again, go ahead and hit that like button if you did like this video, share it to a friend, and let me know in the comments below if you want me to do any specific video for you. Remember, it may be hard now, but it doesn't always have to be. I'll see you in the next one.